So when these machines are applied to food storage, you need I believe, personally, that you need a little bit larger chamber. Primarily because the width of this heat seal bar is going to be like 8 inches wide, and we set up about a 3-pound pack of flour, or 3-pound sack of whatever, but you can't get it into an 8-inch bag. It just won't fit.
Got it.
So when you do things in this kind of package, you end up with real flat pouches, like snag that one over there. We did it a little bit earlier. Okay, so you can do flatter pouches out of rice or grains or beans, but to put them into a paper bag, which is in my mind a little bit more light proof and just a little longer term storage, then you need a little bit bigger bag.
Right.
So these lunch sacks that we've come up with lend themselves well to a 10-inch wide bag. Okay. So if you go ahead and put that in there, and I find if you put that on the counter and put the bag over it, it seems to work a little bit better. And then I'll set this machine up so we can vacuum pack that pouch. All right, and this gives you a a larger, rounder kind of bulky sort of thing that you can do.
Okay.
So you can run through a little bit more stuff. Take the plate all the way out of it, and then now you've got enough depth in the chamber that you can lay it across there. Now, let's see. Okay. So these are real simple to use. You lay the open end of the bag in there and then close the lid. Now, unlike your suction style machines, these are a little more boring.
But they're also easy. You can just walk away and do something else. And it
do something else.
Pops up when it's done, which is kind of also a little reminder, like, oh, I'm done, and you can just walk back with your next one, put it in, walk away.
Right, so
it's kind of convenient.
Very convenient.
Yeah.
And I find that if you actually do, I mean, these things I think come out as more of a showplace on your kitchen counter, and I think they look very handsome on a kitchen counter, and they're a good centerpiece and a talk point.
Yeah.
And this is what's called soft air, so it tends to fold the bag around the product without having it, scrunch up.
Yeah, it's nice.
Pretty solid, don't you think?
Yeah, really solid, and sits well on a shelf. You could stack, you could put them in boxes and fill up a whole box full of rice or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. These are great for food storage.
Yep, and also they, if you're doing the things that are wet and sloppy, like the fish and that kind of stuff, unlike the suction style machines, you don't have the issue of juices coming up into the machine.
Running up into the bag and into the machine, yeah.
Right, so that makes your cleanup a lot easier. And the bags, in this case, cost a lot less money. So where you're using these things on a daily basis over a period of time, you're actually money ahead in bag material.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
When I had my baby, we packed up meals for a week so that I didn't have to cook.
You came over and did that.
Yeah, so we would cook a big batch of lasagna or a batch of spaghetti, divide it up into 4 or 5 different meals in a bag, and then just set it in here, suction it, and none of the juices were going into the machine, but it packed up food for a week within a half an hour of us doing it, 20 minutes of packaging, and it was nice. And then I froze it all, and the week I had my baby, nobody cooked.
Right. So now those packages lend themselves well to what they call sous-vide cooking, which you found out is a fancy French name for boiling bag.
Yes.
But
yeah.
And that's and the sous-vide cooking is starting to take over in restaurants because they put stuff in, they put basically pre-cooked meals, and then they grab them out of the fridge and throw them into a steam table.
Yeah.
Same thing you do at home.
Boil in a bag rice is really popular because it's so easy. You boil water, drop a bag of rice in, and then in a few minutes it's done. But it's twice as much as a package of rice and like 10 times as much as bulk rice. So,
exactly.
I mean, it ends up to be one boil in a bag box of rice is so expensive in comparison to buying a 40-pound bag of rice, packaging it like this, and you have, rice for years for the same price. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is use the sous vide bags and those kind of things to make my own boil in a bag, so I'm not spending so much at the store and still being able to have the convenience of doing that.
All right, well, there's 2 ways of doing that. And one of them is to go ahead and cook the rice ahead of time, and then you can put it up here, but then it needs to be refrigerated or frozen.
Right.
The other way of doing that is to put your rice and water into a retort pouch. Put the retort pouch in here, vacuum pack it, put that in your pressure cooker, and then you have cooked rice in a bag that is shelf stable.
Right.
So now you've got boiling bag rice on a shelf anytime you want it without refrigeration or freezing.
Which is nice.
So that's these size of machines, and so now let's swap these out for a little bit bigger machine, and we can give you an idea of how much more you can get into a, what I like to call a true vacuum packer, which is 12 inches wide instead
Okay.
of
All right.
8s or 10s.